For Argentina, only one team has brought updates, and that's footwork. Yes, that's us. The team has done some great job at weight reduction of the entire chassis, so surely we're gonna get some great results this week. Although one driver's not so happy about going to Argentina. For thousands of years, humanity believed that if you do enough bad things during your lifetime, you go to hell. That's wrong. You go to Buenos Aires circuit number 6. There's nothing more I hate than this track. And you can easily see it in my driving. Like, what am I doing in turn 6, for example? So it's no surprise that this turbo lap put us 3 seconds behind Jean Alesi. At least we are around a second ahead of A40, so I mean, we are not last. But I would rather see some major improvement on this lap. Though this massive moment on the exit of turn 1 will most likely not aid me in that, and I've experienced some understeer on the exit of turn 3, and just after one sector which lasts around 20 seconds we are 3 tenths down on my previous lap, but this was much faster turn 6, although I still missed the apex, and entering sector 3 we are almost equal to the lap before. And I've had to add an amazing sector 3 because we improved to 119.5. I found a second in just sector 3 alone. That lifted me up to 16th, far cry of 7th on the grid I qualified in Australia. And now it's time to start the third lap, going into turn 1, please, just no oversteer this time. And it looked rather quickly how I will deal with turn 3, and no understeer this time, some oversteer on the exit as I went on the curb, and we are 1 tenth up on the previous lap. Though I go for the wrong line in turn 6, I should have went for that late apex. That's the play there, not whatever I've done. And as you can see, we lost around 2 tenths and 500ths of a second in sector 2. And it will be hard to find some time in sector 3, as you can remember my previous one was really strong. But going to the line, it is 119.3. I've actually found time in sector 3 again, although that has to be the limit. How much time can I find there? It's not like there's an unlimited time to be gained there. So on my final lap, it is necessary for me to have a good sector 1 and 2. Once again, first 2 corners look clean. What about the third one? Oh, once again, I just get hit by understeer mid-corner. We lost a 10th. And turn 6, I go for the late apex. That's the correct way. Now I have so much more speed compared to the last time. Looking at my 6th gear is probably too long. And we are 1 tenth up, entering sector 3. Oh, and I go on the gravel. That is a costly mistake. Those next few corners have to be perfect if I want to improve. And coming out of the last corner, what it will be? Will I improve? I mean, that's probably unlikely, but you have to believe in yourself. And it's 119.38. That's just marginally slower than the previous lap. So we're gonna start the race from 15th position. As always, after the qualifying ended, FIA has picked 3 cars. This time it was footwork of Ricardo Rosset, Jordan of Eddie Irvine and Ligier of Olivier Panis for their post-qualifying inspection. All 3 cars have passed without any issues. Villeneuve puts his car in pole position for the 3rd time in a row, with Damon Hill starting in 2nd, and both Ferraris occupy the 2nd row. It once again looks like those 2 teams are the ones to beat. Behind them we have Johnny Herbert in 5th and David Coulthard in 6th. 7th is Gerhard Berger, and in 8th, after a great qualifying session, is Eddie Irvine. 9th is Mika Hakkinen, and 10th Rubens Barrichello. In 11th and 12th we have 2 Ligier drivers, Olivier Panis and Martin Brundle. Next 2 cars are 2 Tyrrells, Mika Salo qualified ahead of Ukyo Katayama. Behind the Japanese driver Bill Brahma and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Ricardo Rosset in 17th, and it looks like after this upgrade, footwork did not gain much pace. Pedro Diniz starts 18th and Luca Baudard 19th. 20th is Pedro Lamy, 21st Giovanni Lavaggi and 22nd Giancarlo Fisichella, with Damon Hill starting in 2nd. 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go for the 1986 Argentine Grand Prix, and a car in front already stalls. That's the 2nd round in a row where that happens. I really want to have a good start one day, oh, and that was way too close to comfort. I almost rear-ended Ukyo Katayama Last year I crashed out of this Grand Prix, but now we are going up the inside of turn 3 on Ukyo Katayama, and as I moved on we are up to 13th position. That turn 3 was where we crashed with, I think that was Luca Badoer, and that kind of started the entire Brahma versus Minardi war for next couple of rounds, because they destroyed me in San Marino later on, and I destroyed Pierluigi Martini in Canada. Now I'm gonna be honest, we are close behind Olivier Panis, but there's no way, especially with this moment, I don't think I'm gonna even keep up with him. You will probably lose us really fast, so this is maximum of our pace. Not even pace, this is just maximum position. The pace is probably worse than the car behind, especially looking at the fact that Ukyo Katayama out-qualified us. And after 2 laps we are already 2 seconds behind Olivier Panis. That gap seems to be growing by around a second per lap. A rate that is certainly worrying, but is about the same it was in Brazil. And now Michael Schumacher is under pressure from the 2 Williamses, but he's going really slow. Is there something wrong with his car? I think his gearbox is broken. You can hear his car just being at maximum RPMs. Yeah, that's a gearbox failure for Michael Schumacher. And as you can see, Michael Schumacher had to pull into the pit lane and retire, and we are in 12th position, 6 seconds behind Olivier Panis, and Katayama is right on our back. Boring race for us so far. Cars behind me cannot overtake me because the track is way too tight, and I'm much slower than cars in front. Lap 20 and field slowly starts coming in for their pit stops. Ukyo Katayama is in the box. Hakkinen comes out 5 seconds in front of us, and at this moment I should have let Ricardo Rosset by. He's much faster than me, and he has to do his pit stops, and I'm just blocking him. I'm sorry, Rosset, I did not realize. My mind just forgot that, wait, that's my teammate. Lap 25, and it's time for my first pit stop of the race. We are boxing 2 laps later than Ricardo Rosset and 3 laps later than Ukyo Katayama. On paper, we should be fine. We overcutted them. Overcuts are simply better with refueling. Now let's see where we will come out. And it's behind the Sauber. Oh, and behind Ukyo Katayama. He actually undercutted us. Oh, and we made slight contact with Ricardo Rosset. He did not want to be stuck behind me. Completely understandable after I blocked him, when he had to go as quickly as is possible to overcut Ukyo Katayama. And after 25 laps, Martin Brundle pulls into the pit lane to retire for the 3rd time in a row. His gearbox is gone. What a terrible season for Martin Brundle so far. So far we are able to stick behind cars in front pretty easily, but Ukyo Katayama is blocked by the Sauber, for which this season is going pretty terrible. They have no pace. And now the Sauber is in the pits. With it gone, we'll see how my true pace compares to the cars in front. And it looks worrying. I've lost 5/10 to the cars in front. And after the next lap, the gap is already 2 seconds. And now going into turn 6, I just lose the rear, overcorrected, and we go on the gravel. Yep, we cannot catch the cars in front anymore. I simply have to settle for this 13th position. And of course the mandatory sighting of the Brazilian submarine. Hello 40. Lap 48, and we go for our second pit stop. Compared to the first one, there's really no pressure. I mean, we aren't racing with anyone right now. Really, objective is just to get this car to the end of the race. And now we are watching the leader of this race, Jean Alesi. Oh, but his car sounds really strange. He's on the maximum RPMs. I think that's another gearbox failure for the Ferrari. What a tragic race for them. They had pace. Michael Schumacher was leading, Jean Alesi was leading, but now they are both out of this race. And yes, indeed, that was a gearbox failure for Jean Alesi. That means we are ahead of both Ferraris on pure pace. Please don't question that. Yellow flags through 4 and 5. Oh, and that's a car smoking. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch what car is that. And that was Pedro Diniz. His car was smoking for some time, and it just gave up in turn 5. There was a small contact with Tyrrell, but no damage reported. So that's the end of this race for Pedro Diniz. And that's another car smoking in turn 6. What is going on? And now we are watching Johnny Herbert, who's entering the turn 6, and his engine just fails. It's worth to note, the British driver was running in 6th place. And Villeneuve reports on the radio that he's stuck in 6th gear. The front runners are dropping like flies. More yellow flags, this time they are waved through turn 11 and turn 12. What happened? And that seems to be Jordan, that's Eddie Irvine. Eddie Irvine was running in 6th place after Johnny Herbert suffered his engine failure. He went wide and that seems to have broken his suspension. Oh, and Damon Hill goes wide. Now Mika Hakkinen has a run on him going into turn 7. Oh, and he overtook him before even they entered the corner. But of course all 3 cars are still within the second of each other. This really might go either way. It's the final wrap of the race. Will Damon Hill overtake Mika Hakkinen? No, he won't! Gerhard Berger crashed into the back of him. That had to be a brake failure for the Austrian driver. And now Damon Hill has no rear wing entering the final 2 sectors of this race. David Coulthard is a couple of seconds down the road. Will this be a McLaren 1-2? Let's get an outboard from Gerhard Berger. Yeah, he just loses the brakes going to turn 3. Of course, he probably should have went right instead of left. But in the end, he lost his brakes, he probably panicked. I don't think the FIA will punish him for that. Now I'm about to start the final lap of the race, and there's a car smoking right in front of me. No idea who's that though. David Coulthard, who's just seconds behind Damon Hill, is also smoking. Both of these cars are badly damaged, they just have to reach the checkered flag. They are in sector 3. No! Oh, he lost his brakes! He lost his brakes! 2 failures in one race. That's just unlucky for David Coulthard, who could have finished second. And as you can see, Damon Hill has finished second, Mika Hakkinen has won this race, but will the car in front of us reach the finish line? No, it won. The white smoke turned black and the car has to retire the sector, and I think it also started burning. What a terrible luck for the driver. Panis finishes in 3rd position. Barrichello is 4th. My teammate is 5th. 2 more points for footwork. Now we are overtaking David Coulthard's car. It was so close to McLaren 1-2, but the car just didn't last those final hundreds of meters. Katayama finishes in 6th position, and we, after that terrible race, are about to finish in 7th. Entering the final corner, it's about to be 7th place finish for me, but I'm not the star of footwork this race. My teammate Ricardo is. But now, let's hear the team radio from Bill Brahma. Footwork! 4 punkty! Mamy to! Mamy to! As you can hear, the team is truly ecstatic for those 2 points. We scored 4 points in those first 3 races. It's looking great. Post-race inspection doesn't really matter. All 3 cars that have been picked have retired from the race. Of course, that doesn't mean they couldn't cheat, but after the inspection we know they didn't cheat. Now let's take a look at the race results. Mika Hakkinen has won the race, Damon Hill is 2nd, Olivier Panis truly loves Argentina, it's his 2nd podium in a row here. Rubens Barrichello finishes 4th, Ricardo Rosset 5th, Ukio Katayama 6th, Bill Brahma after disappointing race in 7th, David Coulthard, although his engine has failed, Gerhard Berger, although his brakes have failed, finishes 9th, Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 10th, Pedro Lamy in 11th, Giovanni Lavaggi in 12th, Giancarlo Fisichella in 13th, Luca Bader after his engine failed on the last lap in 14th, Jacques Villeneuve, Eddie Irvine, Johnny Herbert, Pedro Diniz, Jean Alesi, Martin Brundle, Michael Schumacher and Mika Salo are the other drivers that did not finish this race. Now let's take a look at the championship standings. Damon Hill leads the way, Jean Alesi is 2nd, Mika Hakkinen 3rd, Gerhard Berger 4th, Schumacher and Villeneuve tied on points, Herbert in 7th, Panis and Barrichello also tied on points, me and Rosset we are tied on 2 points and we both have finished in 5th position, Coulthard and Katayama tied on 1 point. In Constructor Championship, Williams is 1st with 22 points, Ferrari is 2nd with 20, Benetton has 12, McLaren, if they had that 1-2 finish, they would be 3rd right now, but they still gained 10 points and are in 11th. Leisure, Jordan and Footwork all tied on 4 points. And that's the end of this Argentine Grand Prix. Not the most fascinating race for myself, but overall it was very exciting. Thank you for watching, bye bye.